some orders in. We gotta make them. And what is going on in the world? What do we want to talk about today? What are we gonna talk about? You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about nostalgia, the past, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, whatever. And I was thinking that nostalgia is dead. After um I want to say after like my generation, like people that are in their like mid late 30s to 40s and up. We can remember a time when like things were just different. I was thinking like kids these days, they just get stuff. I was thinking about the kids that are like maybe a generation behind me or the kids growing up. They actually just get recycled 90s stuff, right? Like I was thinking like Stranger Things and just like if you go online, if you look at like trending designs, it's always like retro 90s, 80s stuff. Music is from the 80s or 90s, like re resampled or whatever. And I was thinking like kids these days, they don't have anything of their own. And then you have AI, which doesn't really make new stuff. It actually just uses stuff that was already made to kind of like I don't know, recycle ideas as well. And then I was like, wow, they don't have anything. So I don't know. I was just thinking that not five, like 10 years from now, they're they don't have culture anymore. I don't know. Their culture seems like slop. That's what I feel like. Maybe I'm getting old, or it could be I'm getting old. And you know how when they're like when we were growing up, your parents probably thought that our culture was dumb, and now maybe I'm getting old, and now I think the younger kids' generations is getting dumb. I have no idea, but it feels like it doesn't seem like it's trending in a way that they have their own ideas anymore. Like I don't know. There's been I have if you guys have come here before, I have children, and I was thinking to myself, hey, they gotta go to school and do good. But I was thinking at the same time, do they? Because the way AI is going, it doesn't seem like anybody needs to do that well in school, to be honest. Because like, what is the purpose? You can try so hard and go to the best schools, and you would still come nowhere close to. Oh, okay. Yeah, nowhere close to what AI can do, like what ChatGPT can do, and that's just one, right? There's so many different ones. Not even close. And the fact that now that all the entry level stuff is being done by AI, as in terms of jobs wise, you can't even do an entry level job anymore, which is even more insane because if you've been in the job market before, entry level jobs are some of the hardest jobs to get into because they always say stuff like, what is it? It's always like, oh, you need 10 years of experience to, I don't know, be like a librarian, like the base level librarian. They'll be like, oh, hey, you need 5 years of experience. And now it's like impossible to even get that experience. It was already hard to get that experience before because what was the joke? It's always like, hey, you need to basically fake it till you make it, right? Lie that you have the experience to get the experience. Because I remember when I was in the job force, looking before, that's what a lot of people did, and that's what I was taught. Like literally, like if a job said like you need 5 years experience, you just like pretend you had the 5 years experience, and it's like entry level job, where most people start, and then you come in and you do that. You somehow get in, you do that entry level job, you for 2 3 years, and now you have 2 3 years of real entry level experience, and then you move up to do like a medium level job, whatever, and then move up from there. But now that all the entry level jobs are being done by AI, you can't even you can't even lie your way into an entry level job anymore because there's no entry level jobs for you to lie into, and then you can't move up to middle management job or higher level jobs because there's already a guy that's been there, and they're not gonna hire you because they they're too busy doing all the entry level jobs now. Because what's going on now is that since all the entry level jobs are being done by AI, but AI is still at the level where you have to like input what do you want it to do. It's not, or maybe I'm just using it wrong. I know some is fully automated. Like some people know how to do it, make it automated. I'm just talking about the mass population of the people, how they use AI is still very like reactionary, right? You have to tell it what to do, and some companies haven't fully moved on to automated AI yet, and they just have middle management people, or they get one entry level guy that does like 20 jobs, what would have been 20 different jobs before, one guy to do it. And yeah, I don't know. It seems rough out there. uh Going back to topic, that nostalgia is dead. This new generation, they don't make anything their own. Like, you barely have movies anymore that you feel like, or like, oh, this is the cultural beat of this generation or whatever. I guess K-pop Demon Hunters is their is their thing right now. But even if you think about the story and the style, it's not their own style. Like, I'm thinking about my time, right? What's a cultural thing that we all saw and was like Goonies, right? Everyone's seen the Goonies, at least if you're an if at least if you're in my age bracket, you've seen the Goonies. That's a cultural thing, and now they have. I bet you at some point they're just gonna remake the Goonies. Did they already do that? Huh? It seems like that's a movie that needs to be remade, or maybe they did already and it just flopped. Who knows? It seems like everything's a remake now. There's no original original stuff anymore. I have no, I don't know. That's what I was thinking about today, this morning. How's your morning going? If you're in the travel business, we got, I don't know. We've been talking about the ice stuff for a long time. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I do want to talk about um Stephen Miller. I don't know why I've been feeling this thing about. I know not a lot of people put a lot of thought into Stephen Miller, but I don't know why I was thinking about him a lot, and how I feel like he's. If you listen to a lot of like Trump interviews and stuff, what does Trump's always thing that he always says? Like when people ask him like really specific questions, he's always like, "I don't know, I don't know. Oh, I never seen that. I don't know." And you know, I know it could be just a diversion tactic, but the more I think about it, the more I think about how, especially lately, there's been like theories online that what Trump has dementia or whatever, and all this stuff that's is very unpopular right now is the ICE stuff, the immigration stuff is becoming very unpopular. The tariffs and stuff, that's very unpopular. A lot of that is actually Stephen Miller. At least this is what I've been told, and what I've seems like what I've seen is a lot of the stuff is Stephen Miller's ideas. And then I think about him and how like just if you go online, literally everyone's talking about how he's like evil incarnate, right? And I was like, you know what it seems like to me? It seems like if you guys remember what Lord of the Rings, the second one, what was it Helm's Deep, whatever. There's that scene. I think I want to say it's like midway into the second one where they head to the like I think it's the outpost. I don't. It's been a long time. They head to like one of those outposts, and then there's the king that was there, and then when they first get to the outpost, it was like kind of like desolate, and the place was like dark, and it just didn't seem right, and everyone was like, "What is going on here? This is not the place that I remember." And then you get in there, and then they're in the Great Hall, and the king was there, or the leader of that fort was there, and he seemed like decrepit and like he was like, ugh. And then there was like an advisor whispering in his ear, and we come to find out that that advisor was actually like a double agent spy guy that got corrupted, and he has been basically running that area, whispering nonsense into the king's ear. That's what it seems like. What at least this is what the theories online are. Sorry if the lawnmower is going. Can't help it. It seems like he's like this like shadowy figure in the background, whispering into Trump's ear. Sometimes I feel like Trump doesn't even know what's going on. There's always that. Like I don't know. I just have this feeling that this Stephen Miller guy is like shadow puppying like everything, and it, it it's just bad. I don't know. The more I find out about the Stephen Miller guy, the more I'm like, ugh. Ugh. The funny part about everything is, right now, as I'm recording this, there's like, what is it, National Guard going into different cities and whatnot. Portland, Chicago, right now in the eye, in the in the crosshairs, in the eye of Sauron. Um, but I'm watching lots of footage of that, and there's just a few things that I find very interesting. The talking points on it is kind of interesting. Is because like the way they make it sound like when they do the pressers, who's the main one that does the pressers? Caroline Levitt. She when she does the pressers, and like the reporters ask her about it, and she always flips out on them, which whatchamacallit, the one that they had during the first term, what's it? That was Huckabee, Sandra Huckabee. I don't remember her name, but she had the same role, and she would also flip out. Like the press secretary job is, I have to say, the press secretary job is the worst job to have. Um, when the president's very unpopular, like if you remember during Obama time, Obama was pretty popular for most of his presidency, if not all of his presidency, right? Someone could correct me on that. I was young when Obama was president. I didn't think much of it, but I do know that we didn't talk about it like this. At least, as I said, I was young when he was president, so my thoughts on it are a little bit different, I guess. But we didn't talk about the press secretary. right? Obama basically did his own stuff because he was popular and people wanted to see him talk. And the Caroline Levitt's job is the worst job to have because her job every day is like every day there's a press conference, right? And her job is to answer the questions of what is going on, why are you guys doing this kind of stuff, and she will have to spin it. She's like the nation's top spin doctor job, and she would like just completely go off on reporters, and, and I know what it is. It's usually like the idea that when you don't have a defense, you kind of over offense, right? The best defense is good offense idea where if you could yell at them, they kind of just stop, and then they don't press it any further, and it's been working. So that's what she's been doing. Anyways, they the way that they describe the cities, it when I first heard Caroline Levitt talk about the like the cities and how the National Guard is going out there, it it reminded me of like an abused girl, like an abused wife or whatever. Like, I don't know. That's what it felt like. Where the way that they're talking about the cities, it's like an abused wife, like because it's like, please, why aren't you guys asking us? You guys should be thankful that we have come to your city to basically rage war against you. Why are you? That's what it felt like. Like these press conferences when they talk about the cities, it's like, why are you punching yourself in the face? Let us punch you, and be grateful. Say thank you. I don't know. Later on, when I get in there, maybe I'll post it with the clip because with the clip together, it makes a lot of sense. But like, I don't know. Every time they're like, governors should be calling us, asking for the National Guard to come in to liberate you. We're surprised that more governors and whatnot are not asking for this. And then they're like, "Oh man, this one didn't press right. I gotta re." All right, sorry, you guys got to come with me. They're like, why aren't you letting us punch you in the face? And you should say thank you. I'm watching the riot footage, right? And then they're like, I know Stephen Miller was talking about it. Most likely Caroline Levitt talked because it's their talking point. Their talking point right now is that the reason why the National Guard and the military need to get deployed to these different places is because what is the statistic? They said like a 1,000% increase in violence against ICE agents or whatever, right? They said like 1,000%, and then they were like, so we need to protect them. I know in Portland, what they said, the police are barred from helping the ICE agents, right? So they're on their own, and that's one of the justifications why they said that they need the National Guard, is to protect the ICE agents, and crime against them is up to like 1,000% or something. And then I was thinking like, yeah, it's up 1,000% because they've never done this before, and it's highly unpopular and people don't like it. So, you know, the protests wouldn't be happening if ICE wasn't out there, and so the crime against ICE wouldn't be this high if this wasn't happening. And then, what bugs me about it, that every time I hear about them talking about crime or assaults against ICE is up like 1,000% or whatever, is I've seen multiple videos of this, and I'm pretty sure some of it's real, some of it's like they're exaggerating. But like I've seen multiple videos of them talking about like of protesters or people getting arrested. And I don't know, you guys know the rules on the protesting and ICE and whatnot. But basically, if you just touch them, that counts as an assault. And so you think about that, right? If you just touch them, that counts as an assault. Or if you hold their hand, that counts as you obstructing um, their their work, and then they can arrest you because ICE is not supposed to be arresting like U.S. citizens and whatnot. But if you get in the way of them doing their duties, if you touch them, you are basically impeding their thing, and then they can arrest you. So that's kind of like what happened to that. Is he from California? I forget. That Congress guy. I think they were deporting somebody, and then he like, oh no, I'm talking about, yeah, they were deporting somebody, and he was like, "What are you guys doing?" And then the ICE officers, ah, and then they all swarmed him and tackled him to the ground, like that. Uh, if you touch them, that's what's gonna happen. So when I see the pressers and they're talking about like crime, like assaults against ICE agents of like a billion%, it's like, yeah, but literally if you touch them, they're like, ah, and then they have the justification to like like jump on you, which is insane. But okay, now both sides are equally into this though. Maybe it's basketball culture or sports culture. I don't know. I saw this other footage, and it was, I mean, either way, it's not a good look. But I just thought this was really, really, like both sides of this was like, this is getting ridiculous. It was, sorry, the weather's changing, and I get major allergies when the weather changes. It, I think it was like, I don't know if you guys seen this, but this one happened in Chicago, and I think they're in front of the ICE like facility, whatever, and there's like protesters and whatnot. And then there's this white guy. He comes up, and he's a U.S. veteran, like this bigger U.S. veteran guy. And he's like got like a microphone, and he's got a phone, and he's like recording ICE agents or wherever. The ICE agents made like a little like sphinx barricade thing, right? They're like kind of like all around the entrance to the ICE facility or wherever they are. And the guy's like got his phone and he's recording them. And you know, and then the ICE agents start advancing and he's advancing. So like at some point they get like this close to each other. Sorry. They get like this close to each other. And then I'm trying to remember exactly how it escalated, where they're like this close to each other, and oh yeah, I remember now. They're like this close to each other, and then at some point, I guess the ICE agent got fed up with the guy being like in his face, and what I said was basically they're in like a driveway, like there's a gate and there's like drive, and he said basically they need to move these people out because cars are supposed to go through. There were no cars that went through, by the way, but he was just saying you guys need to clear out because you're blocking the road. And then the veteran guy was like, "This is a public road," you know, and then the ICE agent shoves him, right, just shoves him to the ground, and he's like old. He's probably like 60s, 70s, around that age, like around 70, 60s, 70s. He looked pretty good for a 70-year-old, to be honest, though. Like, he wasn't like in shape, but he wasn't like he didn't seem like a frail old guy. Anyways, they shove him, and then this is when the crowd, understandably, okay, understandably, it's not a good look when you shove a 70-year-old veteran guy that was just standing in front of you. It's not a good look, right? And then the minute they did that, the crowd went crazy, right? They're like, "What are you doing? You can't do that. He's a veteran. Why are you doing that? He wasn't doing anything. He was standing there." Right? That's what they were saying right after they shoved him, and they were like freaking. They were like the crowd was freaking out. Like, "What are you doing? He's a veteran. Why did you shove him?" Right? And then I, this is the part that I've watched over and over and over again because this part is, I think the I'm trying to figure out why this happened. But so they after they shove him, the crowd's going crazy. They're like, "Why are you shoving him? He's a veteran. Um, he was just standing there, right?" And then one of the ICE agents felt bad, and he walks over, and he's like trying to offer to get the guy up, right? And the guy's like, "Oh, he's like, oh, do you need an ambulance? Do you need an ambulance?" Like, right. He's trying to. That guy was trying to de-escalate because he knew, and he wasn't the one that shoved him. Like he was next to the guy that shoved him, but I know that he knew that things are about to go off, and he needs to de-escalate this. Which I have to say, that's a smart thing to do, right? You don't want to, right? He knows that if they did, if they can't just you can't just shove a 70-year-old veteran. It's not a good look. Like everyone's gonna get mad, right? Who? And so the guy shoves him, and this guy's trying to de-escalate. He tries to get him back up, right? And the old man's like, he gives his phone to his friend or whatever, right? Or like he's like, here, take my phone. And this is the part where I didn't understand. So after he gives the phone to his friend takes his phone, and then the guy is trying to pick him up, right, or at least get him up, and he's like, "Oh, do you need an ambulance?" And then right away, I don't know if something was whispered or what. I watched that video a billion times. I can't tell what caused it, but the one of the smaller ICE agents just flips out. It kind of looked like a girl though. Later on, when I get into the computer, I'll show you guys. It kind of looked like a girl ICE agent. I'm not sure what happened, but one of them flips out and just starts like tackling the old guy, which is like crazy because literally he gets shoved. One of the other ICE agents knew that this was gonna go bad. Tries to offer to get the guy up. Oh, and the old man was when the guy was trying to offer to pick him up. The old man was already old people, they get grumpy. He was in a bad mood, which again, understandably, he just got shoved. He was like, "I don't want your help" or whatever, right? Maybe that's what set the little one off because a little one just flips out and starts tackling him, and then you know if you've ever been in like a team, in like a team sport or a team, like you're in a group, right? Once one of you does something like that, you gotta have that other person's back, right? It's just common sense. Firefighters, police officers, army, military, whatever, right? Once one of you does something, it doesn't matter if it's like right or wrong. You're trained to have each other's back, and not I want to say trained, but like it's just common sense. You need to have the other person's back because at the end of the day, you guys are a team, right? So the minute that one of the ICE agents flips out and starts tackling the guy, they all just kind of like ascend on him, right? And that's what really like set it off because then they were like, "What are you guys doing?" He was literally just sitting there, and they send on him, and then they pick him up, and then they arrest him, And this is the part where I thought was really funny. After they pick him up, right? He's like, "Let's get." The old guy's like, "Let's get this over with. You know, do what you got to do." Right? And they kind of like bring him into like the facility, and then this is part other part I didn't understand is because the whole thing started off because the guy shoved him the first time because they were telling him you gotta move because this is a road and cars can get in the way. Right? You need to make room for cars. But again, like I said, there were no cars coming. And then they kind of like they all balled up, all the ice agents, and they all put their hands on each other's backs, and then they all just kind of like backed away into the facility and then closed the doors. And that was the weird that was the weirdest part of that whole thing because I was like, I thought you guys said that the road needed to be clear so cars can go through. And then after they grabbed this guy, they kind of just like retreated. Oh, that was weird. Anyways, I'm done with my orders. Thanks for hanging out. See you guys later.